Today, I want us to take a look at this little device over here, the 2-Notes Cap M+. I just wanted to share with you how I use it in my signal chain, and maybe it can give you some ideas as well. Let's get started. Hello, my name is Andres, and in this channel you will find videos about guitars, music theory, applied music theory, and reviews of products to make music. If this is something you're interested in, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Full disclosure, I want you to know that this video is sponsored by the folks at 2Notes. They provided me with the unit to make the video. However, the opinions in this video are my own. The first thing I have to mention about my pedal board is that I change it a lot. Honestly, I really like to be testing new connections and different pedal orders. It's a bit like playing with Legos. Instead of having something completely static, what I do is that I change pedals depending on the sound I'm looking for. However, what is a constant is that I like to have a stereo signal. A good reverb or delay in stereo just sounds incredible. Okay, let's take a look at the general idea of how I have everything connected. And a quick note, since I replace pedals so frequently, you're gonna notice that my cable management isn't, well, so great. But now you know the reason why, so let's just take a look. The guitar signal goes straight into this Behringer noise reducer that sends the signal through its send to this Donner compressor, which I'm currently testing. Then we go into the JHS overdrive, that's the 3 series JHS overdrive. Then we go into the Donner Dumble drive, which I'm also testing right now, and to be honest is a rather peculiar pedal. Then into the Boss OD3 overdrive, then the Behringer TO800, which is a tube screamer type of pedal. Then we have the Boss SD1, and finally we have Donner's Blue Drive overdrive and the Morpher distortion. This part of the chain until here is where I make changes most frequently. I'm constantly trying to put different overdrives in different orders to see how they sound together when I stack them. Here sometimes I also have the Boss TR2 tremolo or the JHS 3 series chorus. And you're probably thinking, that is an unnecessary amount of overdrives. And I guess you're probably right, but I just like to have a lot of overdrives and try them out and stack them. It's just fun. It's true. From here, the signal goes into the 2Notes Clean, which is a tube preamp. I bought this pedal with my own money. It was not sponsored by 2Notes. The reason I chose this pedal is because I wanted to have the dynamics and, well, the response to dynamics and the sound of a tube amp with that very characteristic analog overdrive and distortion that I could easily take with me anywhere. Carrying a heavy amp is a pain in the butt, and it isn't an option for me. The Clean has an FX loop and a couple of other things that I will mention in a moment. From the send of the Clean, the signal goes back to the return of the noise reducer. By doing this, I make sure I have all the pedals that generate the most noise in the noise reducer's loop without affecting the tails of the reverbs or delays. The output of the noise reducer goes in this case into the Boss GT1000 core that I mainly use for modulation and time effects. In here, I can play with the signal path and also generate a stereo signal. Another thing I frequently do is use the send and return of the core to put effects in mono inside the chain. This also gives me the possibility of using the stereo effects of the core if I wanted to. Currently, I'm mostly using the core's effects, so I don't have anything else connected here, but I often add other pedals like the light reverb from Game Changer Audio. From here, I do the following. One of the outputs of the core goes to the return of the Clean, where I have a power amp and cap simulation that then goes through an XLR cable to the audio interface. And the other output of the core goes to the Cabin Plus. By connecting it this way, I'm having two different cabinet and power amp simulations, which allows me to create a stereo signal with variable sound characteristics for left and right, generating a sound, in my opinion, that's a little bit fuller and bigger. With this signal in stereo, I often also use Arturia's effect plugins, which are incredible. With these ones, I can add a little bit of reverb, delay, or other modulation effects. Let's now take a closer look at how the Cabin Plus plays a role in the chain and the various options it offers. Okay, then what exactly is the Cabin Plus and what does it do? This device is an amp DI, an impulse response reader, a clean preamp, and a virtual cap. Depending on what we need it to do, we choose the function. If we want to use it as a direct line for the amp, we can connect it in multiple ways depending on the amp we have. For example, if you have a combo amp with an FX loop, you connect the send of the amp to the input of the Cabin Plus, and from there you go to the mixer or audio interface with the simulation of the power amplifier and cabinet already done by the Cabin Plus. This is ideal for recording your amp quietly. If you are on stage, you can send the signal through the XLR output to the front of house and use the line output to send it to your monitor. In this case, you would not be using your amp speaker, but it simplifies the connection on stage and avoids having to mic your amp. If you're using an amp and a cap, you can connect the Cabin Plus between the two. The speaker output from your amp goes to the input of the Cabin Plus, and the speaker out of the Cabin Plus goes to your cap. Something very important, this device is not a load box. If you connect it this way, the Cabin Plus must always be connected to a cap or a load box. Otherwise, you can damage your amp. If you need a device that is also a load box, the torpedo captor would be an interesting option for you. The first method that I explain is the one I use most often, where I put the Cabin Plus in the FX loop of the Leclean, and I let the Cabin Plus take care of one of the stereo channels. If you want, you can also upload your own IRs to the device. However, the Cabin Plus comes with 32 factory caps with different microphones and a very wide variety of positioning options, as well as multiple parameters to edit, such as the kind of tubes we want to use for both the preamp and power amp, a noise gate, equalizer, reverb, and so on. As you can see, a lot to choose from. In case these caps aren't enough for you or you're looking for something more specific, Two Notes has La Boutique, a virtual store where you can audition different IRs, and if they are what you're looking for, you can buy them. All of their IRs use their DIN IR or dynamic IR technology that has positioned Two Notes at the forefront of amp and cap simulation. The Cabin Plus has Bluetooth, so all the available parameters can be edited from your tablet or phone, so you don't have to be reaching down all the time. The app is, in my opinion, quite intuitive, and in general, I find the user interface to be very nice. All the changes that can be made with the app can be made directly on the device. But as you can imagine, it is a little bit tedious with the small screen that we have available. The device can be connected to the computer via USB, where we can use the Torpedo Remote software to make changes to our patches, export and import them, and update the device. Additionally, we have an SD card reader on the Cabin Plus to be able to add your own IRs directly to the device. You can also use the Cabin Plus as a clean pedal platform. Some people prefer their pedals to color the signal rather than their amp. In order to do that, we need a preamp that is very neutral or flat to allow the pedals to just basically take the role. This is the idea of the preamp that is included in here. You can also use the Cabin Plus to build a very portable pedal board that centers around the device. You can have an overdrive, a distortion, and a chorus, for example, that go to the input of the Cabin Plus, and use the inbuilt reverb to give your sound a little bit more space, a little bit more room. To me, this seems like an interesting option if we want to have good sound in a small format that we can take anywhere. Maybe if you have to teach some lessons, and you can take a very small pedal board that has everything you need in a very compact form. I think that's an interesting idea. The device has also a line input, so you can practice with backing tracks if you want to, and a headphone output for when you want to play quietly. With both an XLR and a 1/4 inch output, you can arrange your chain in basically any way that best suits you. There's something relevant that I should tell you about this device. It is a little bit noisy. The last update improved this issue a lot, and once you're playing, it's hard to notice and basically impossible if we're playing with distortion, but I wanted you to know. So then you can try it out in the store, just give it a go and see if something that could bother you. In general, I think this is a very interesting product. I'm gonna have it in my pedal board definitely all the time, and I'm actually happy with the device. So give it a go, see if you like it. And there you have it, a look at my signal chain and the Cap M Plus. If you have any questions regarding this little device or comments, you can leave them in the comment section below. Let me also know what you think about the Cap M Plus. I would like to hear your thoughts on it. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.